Alright, so today's lesson is lesson number 3 in genetic inheritance. And this time we're going to look at the third type of dominance pattern, which is called codominance. Just a little revision. Last week, you have already learned about complete dominance, where one of the alleles is completely dominant over the other one. And you've learned about incomplete dominance, which means neither of the alleles dominant over the other one. They're both kind of partially expressed, and the genotype, when you have the heterozygous genotype, having two different alleles, the outcome would be a mixture of the two and the combination of the two. Now, today we're going to look at codominance, and that is a situation. Oh, I have a little typo actually. This should not be complete dominance. It just says incomplete dominance. So this actually refers to the situation where you have two different alleles, and the two alleles are both fully expressed, and neither of the alleles is dominant over the other one. So if you have a red color and a white color, and those two alleles mated with each other and have a new baby, then the baby will not be pink, but instead it will have patches of red and patches of white. So that is what the codominance refers to. So if we have a look at the complete, incomplete, and codominance pattern, you would know that you'd notice the major difference actually lies in the heterozygous genotype, where you have the two different alleles. Now, if you have a red and a white color in complete, you'll get a red if the red is dominant. If you get a red and a white allele, but neither of them is dominant, both of them are being partially expressed. So this is what it means. So partially expressed. So that means both of them are partially expressing, showing a little bit of its characteristics, whereas the codominant, both of the alleles are being fully expressed in a heterozygous situation, where both of the alleles are completely showing their effects. So some of them would be red, some of the color would be white, all right? So let's look at a animal example. This is actually present in cattle. And if you have a look at how we actually write alleles and genotype in codominance, a lot of the times we actually use both upper and lower cases. So this is possible. This is how you can write it. However, there is another way to write alleles. So this R would represent the gene. So that's right here. And then the color, the allele, can actually be represented as a superscript. So superscript is a smaller letter that is written on the right-hand side of the larger letter. And it's kind of rising on top right-hand corner, basically. So in kettles, when you look at the coat color, you can actually get a white color and a red color, and they're being controlled by the gene R. And you can get two different variations of that gene. You can have white represented by the W, or you can have red represented by the smaller superscript R. All right, and then if you get a white and a red, then you have a roan coat. So a roan cattle would have red and white patches on their body. So what I want you to do now is, if you go to your practice questions, so you should have completed these notes already. I want you to write down the phenotype we just talked about, and I want you to do the practice questions, all right? So pause the video and do the practice questions before you come back, and I'll explain to you the blood type. So assume that you have already completed your practice questions for the cattle question. And here's blood type. So this is a human example. In humans, the blood type is actually being controlled by a gene that displays antigen on red blood cells. So on your red blood cells, there are things that are called antibodies, all right? Antibodies or antigens are being present on there, and it's kind of like a defense mechanism. So a antigen is going to recognize antigens that are A. So it won't attack any antigens that are A. So a person with A blood type, an A antigen, an A antibody inside the body, they will attack things that are B antigen and other stuff, all right? So only if you have A antibodies and antigen inside your body, then the blood is being compatible with each other. So A person can donate to another A person, but an A person cannot donate their blood to a B person because the person with a B blood type is not going to be able to recognize these A antigens, and they will go in and attack the blood. So that's why if you transfer the wrong type of blood into a person, the antibody, the immune system inside that person's body is going to attack the blood that comes in because they do not recognize the antibodies and antigens on that blood. Now, a person with type B blood means that they have B antigens on their body, and a person with type AB blood means that they have both A and B antigens in their red blood cells. And here is a most interesting one. A person with type O blood means that they do not have any antigens on their red blood cells, all right? So this is what it looks like. When we think about the alleles and the genes and the phenotype, which is the blood type that is in the body, we actually have 3 alleles that controls blood type. So here's where they are. The 3 alleles is an A allele, a B allele, and an O allele. Now, remember the I represent antigen on the red blood cell, so that's like the gene. And then the little subscripts are the different variation of the alleles for that gene. So unlike before where we just studied 2 different types of alleles, we actually have 3 alleles that controls blood type. And these alleles actually display different relationship. They don't just stick to one. Like before, you only have 2 alleles, so they display codominance, or they only display incomplete dominance, or they only displays complete dominance. This time we get a combination of both incomplete, not incomplete. They display a codominance and a complete dominance pattern. So now, if we look at allele A and B, they actually display a codominance pattern. And then A and O displays complete, and this is also complete. So that means when you get a A and a B allele, both A and B antigens are present, meaning that you get type AB blood. If you get A and A together, then of course you get A blood. B and B together, you get B blood. And then A and O will have A, because O means doesn't display any antigens or antibodies. And then B and O, again, you're going to get B blood because O is not displaying any antigens or antibodies on the red blood cells. So what I want you to do is pause the video and I want you to complete this little table. Give me all the possible genotypes that's going to produce A blood, B blood, AB blood, and O blood. Okay, assume that you've tried it on your own. So this is what happens. All right, so you can have either this or you can have this. And then type B blood, you can get B, or you can get a B and an O. Type AB blood. Now to get both A and B, there is only one possible genotype, and that is this. And then the last one, if you want to get type O blood, again, there is only one possible genotype. All right. So this is a phenotype, which is the blood type you're going to get. And these are the possible genotypes underneath behind in your genes. So what I want you to do is, based on those information, I want you to try and complete the rest of the practice questions.